Now, let's turn our focus to another incident that has caused controversy and attracted everyone's attention. The world's top-ranked tennis player, Serbian Novak Djokovic, has had a roller-coaster week since landing in Australia to defend his Open title. First, he was held at an immigration detention facility and his visa was cancelled. He then won an appeal after his vaccination exception was accepted following an alleged recent COVID-19 infection. Then on Friday, Australia's immigration minister revoked his visa, saying he may pose a health risk to the community. Djokovic was then summoned to meet immigration officials over the weekend. He was set to begin competing at the Australian Open on Monday. For anti-vaxxers and COVID skeptics, Djokovic has become a hero. But to many, his actions provoked outrage when it seemed like there were different rules for different people, especially at a time when countries are trying to boost vaccination rates amid new waves of infection. On Monday, an Australian court ordered Djokovic to be released from immigration detention, saying the government's reasoning for revoking his visa was unreasonable. Djokovic tweeted that he is pleased and grateful that the judge overturned his visa cancellation. Despite all that has happened, he wants to stay and try to compete at the Australian Open. He says he remains focused on that. He flew there to play at one of the most important events we have in front of the amazing fans. While Australia's immigration minister has revoked Djokovic's visa, legal experts believe there are grounds for appeal. The Serbian player has supporters both in Melbourne and in Belgrade.
I'd like to thank the Australian government for creating the global hero in Novak Djokovic. So thank you, it backfired, didn't it?
Shame on them. They are probably bothered Djokovic will win for the 10th time and that some Serb from small Serbia comes there to win the Australian Open for the 10th time.
All of this will give him extra strength. They don't realize what they've done. He will now win 10 more Grand Slam titles.
Let's get more reaction from Belgrade. Sasa Ozmo is there for us. He's a journalist at Sport Club Serbia. Sasha, great to have you with us on Across the Balkans. Now, what's the view from Serbia to what was happening to Novak in Australia?
Thank you for having me, first of all. And reaction to what's been happening with Novak, I would describe it as a mixture of disappointment and anger for most of his fans over here, because after he was granted an exemption and he posted on Instagram that he was going to play the Australian Open, I think many of his fans were relieved because they didn't know if he was going to play. And then when he landed in Melbourne, it all went south very quickly. And we've seen how the situation has unfolded since then. You know, basically, in a few hours, we have some new piece of information, and it's been a story that's taken by storm all the media all over the world, and especially in Serbia. I mean, if you look at the media outlets and some of the TV programs have even stopped their regular program in order to give their viewers the latest development in the Djokovic story.
Right.
Also, when the process was ongoing, Serbian public broadcaster was airing it, as well as N1, the most prominent cable channel. So yes, it's a total frenzy over here.
But I've seen also many comments online, Serbian people feeling that the Australian government moves were against the Serbs. But why are they seeing it like this? And how did this issue become so political?
I mean, it became political because the Australian made it political when they rejected Novak, and he had all the necessary documentation which the Judge Kelly decided in the end. But as far as the comments on social media and online, I don't think that's a good representative of what people think in any matter, in this one as well, because there's a huge majority of people that don't visit social networks, that you don't use them that way. So I believe when all of this blows over a little bit, that the people will realize that Serbia and Australia don't have anything against each other. But at the moment, the tensions are running high, the emotions are running high. So, and with this pandemic, everybody's a little bit crazy, and sometimes you say things you don't mean. But having that being said, I feel the way Djokovic has been treated since landing in Melbourne has been a shame. You know, 8 hours at the airport, isolated in a room, 3 hours without the phone, then 5 days, 3 or 4 days, 4 or 5 days, I'm not sure, in the detention center. So that's not the way to treat anyone, especially a man who had all the papers with him, as it was proven.
Right, Sasha, but I know you're a big Nole fan. I follow you on Twitter. Your Twitter was on fire in the last couple of days. But don't you think he could be more responsible when it comes to the pandemic we are facing and come out with his vaccination status? I mean, the Balkans already has so many issues with anti-vaxxers and people not trusting officials.
Yes, I know that Novak and his brother George, who is recently giving a lot of interviews, of course, in light of the situation, they always say that the medical records are private. It's within their rights to do so. That being said, I believe with everything what was going on in the last couple of days, it would be in Novak's best interest, to come out with some answers and to explain situation in a way. And I believe when his first press conference is due in Melbourne, if he gets to play the Australian Open after all, that there won't be much talk about tennis.
Right, let's see what happens. But I do agree with you. He does need to come out with some kind of explanation because he's such a big star. For a lot of people, he's a role model. He needs to clarify this, I think. Anyway, Sasha, thanks so much for being our guest on Across the Balkans.